What are you still salty about?
In elementary school, there was a pencil machine in the front lobby where you could get pencils for 25 cents. There were also special pencils that had stars on them. Monsieur, if you got one of these special pencils, you could take it into the office and get a prize. One day, I decided to get a pencil. I put in my quarter and out popped 2 pencils. And one of them was a special pencil. I went into the office and told the lady at the desk that the machine gave me 2 pencils and one of them was special. She proceeded to say that the machine shouldn't do that, took the special pencil, and didn't give me a prize. That was 19 years ago and I'm still pissed.
*Edit to answer some of the more common questions. The prizes were stuff like the fancy erasers that didn't actually erase anything. Fun-size candy bars. Stuff like that. Think 5 to 10 tickets at Chuck E. Cheese's. I probably didn't go to school with you. This happened in Michigan. Apparently the pencil machines are a common thing. This happened in either 2nd or 3rd grade. So the time was probably closer to 20 to 21 years ago. Fuck. That makes me feel old. The main lesson I learned was to withhold irrelevant information and lie if I know the truth might negatively affect me. Good work, random office receptionist.
Some people in petty power positions are truly a disgrace for humankind and probably will ultimately be the ones to blame for the diminishing of our entire race. Edit. Thank you so much for the upvotes and the prizes, everyone. My first Reddit gold. Wow. To answer some of the comments, I am of the opinion that while we need rules to organize complex social systems, those rules can and must be put aside sometimes by applying common sense and empathy to them, monsieur. If a rule allows you to treat your fellow human like crap, the rule must be changed. Humans beings before systems forever.
This makes me unreasonably mad. What kind of adult is this to a child?
Seriously. Karen should have feigned excitement, said it must be your lucky day, and give the kid a prize. I'm salty for
the fact that I spelled mayonnaise correctly in my 4th grade class spelling bee. But the teacher claimed I didn't and dismissed me. I had 1 in the 3rd grade, and proceeded to win in the 5th and 6th grades as well. The unfair disqualification in 4th grade ruined what would have been a 4-year streak. Edit. I am sorry so many of you have also experienced spelling bee injustice. Before I knew English, I had a teacher tell me that my name is spelled with a Y when it's extremely obvious that it's spelled with an I. Of course I didn't know better, so I didn't say anything, but it seems really stupid that she thought that since she was born in Australia. I think my mom told me she was wrong, but to me, it was her word against her word.
My sister got a brand new car for her 16th birthday. I got $20.
That is bullshit. I would be salty AF. $20 is enough to buy a hammer.
Nice flex. I didn't get anything for my sister's 16th birthday.
That my 6th grade teacher refused to believe I had no idea the dude sitting behind me was copying my answers on the test. This happened to my best friend. Someone copied his answers and he got detention and the kid didn't. My friend has never gotten in trouble at school, and the kid who copied was like 90% of the way to getting expelled.
My mum decided that she didn't want Christmas presents one year and made sure to tell us, me and my 2 brothers. I suggested to her instead that we donate what we would have spent to charity in her name. She said she was fine with that if that's what we wanted to do. So that's what I did. I sent her a nice little card and the info for the charities I donated to, so she could see that her decision helped some good organizations out. Mon monsieur was pissed. Why didn't you just send me a gift card if you weren't gonna buy me anything? You ruined Christmas. Now, I love my monsieur. By that point we had a total of 1 really nasty fight. And that was several years before. She was fine growing up. She was fine most of my adulthood except for a suicide attempt that I got to call the ambulance for, from the other side of the country. Long story. I'm accustomed to buying my mum decent, thoughtful presents. So when she accused me of ruining Christmas for her, I was distraught. I sent her a screen cap of the conversation we had encircled where she said she'd be fine with my decision to donate in her name. Her response: I don't remember that. I deleted those texts. I lost my shit. Told her it's her own fault for raising me to do as I'm told. And next time just don't say shit if she's gonna change her mind and not tell us. And then we didn't speak for 3 months. This was 2.5 years ago and I have not gotten over it. Who the fuck gets annoyed at an act of charity like that? If you were my kid and you came to me with a card and it had a bunch of charities that you donated to, I'd be so proud even if I was expecting presents. Editor to make it more clear on what I'm saying. Yeah, it wasn't a great Christmas for either of us. Every once in a while I'll second-guess things. But then I remember she literally said to do it and that I did absolutely nothing wrong. I even researched charities for an hour or so to find ones that were poised to do some real good. And it just pisses me off all over again. Coming second in a school trivia competition 21 years ago, I had the correct answers on 2 questions that would have sent us to the national champs and was vetoed by the other 3 shitheads on my team. Monsieur, that's a life lesson right there. Being right is almost never enough. You also have to be able to convince others that you're right.
That hits hard. I was a co-founder of a startup, and during an early strategy meeting, I made a bunch of suggestions that the other founders aggressively dismissed. A year later, we got some funding and hired a CEO who was an expert in the field. And he suggested the exact same things, which they praised as brilliant. They later sheepishly remembered that I'd suggested the same ideas, and apologized. That really taught me a lot. Being right is rarely enough. You need to understand why you're right, and you have to be able to sell your ideas. I was at a house party in college and we had to take off our shoes. Some bitch walked home in my leather knee-high boots and I've never gotten over it. For clarity, she left her dirty-ass shoes behind for me to go home with. So thanks I guess you shoe thieving wrench. What did you do? Wait until everyone had left, saw what shoes were left and wore those? Or did you go home shoeless? Lol. We need answers up. A friend told me that they only hang out with me when all of their other options run dry. No longer a friend, I hope. Or at least, not the kind of friend you depend on. Greater than no longer a friend, I hope. Well, only if all other options run dry. I have a friend who's like this. She only hangs when she's pissed at her real best friend, and cancels in a heartbeat to hang with other people. A couple years ago I demoted her to a similar position, so we practically never hang out anymore. When I had to get photos printed for a university project, so I went to a printer shop and they charged me £2 extra for a DVD with my photos on, even though I told them I didn't want the DVD, so I didn't get it, but they still charged me anyways and threw away my receipt before I could look at it. So, with my new photos I went to hand in my project, only to be told that we were doing a peer review of the monsieur. No one in my group did the project and couldn't care less about it. So I wasted all that time and effort. Still so salty. Greater than university, greater than printer, yeah, that'll do it. I've mentioned this before, but when I was about 8 or 9, we had a big project in school which ended with us writing a story. I spent fucking hours on this thing. It was going to be the best book ever. It was only a matter of time before it was snapped up by some publisher and then it would be the talk of the Scholastic Book Fair. No doubt in my mind. It absolutely had to be in by the time school finished for Christmas, so my teacher could mark it over the break. So I stayed up until about 10 o'clock at night for about a week beforehand working on it, which, you know, is the closest thing you get to an all-nighter when you're about 9. It was my magnum opus. I got back to school in January to find that A, she had lost it, B, she was accusing me of not handing it in, and C, because mine was the only one she couldn't find, she decided to call me out in front of the class about it. I ended up locking myself in the toilet because I was crying so much. Worse still, it later transpired that when it turned up after all, she marked it as though it was handed in late, and the bitch still only gave me a middling grade. Fuck you, Mrs. Harding. On a 4th grade math test we had to make a shape that had only 4 sides, 1 set of parallel lines, and only 1 right angle. There were probably more requirements but I can't remember. I remember almost crying at my desk and spending 20 minutes on that one question while constantly telling my teacher that it wasn't possible, but according to her it was. And the next day we went over the answer key, and the answer had 2 right angles.
Yo, I had something like this happen to me. We had a paper sheet with tons of math questions. One of them was impossible and the whole class knew it. We went up to our teacher and she said no questions. Next day we were reviewing it and she said it was impossible but still marked us all wrong. Edit. A lot of people were bugging me about punctuation, so I fixed it. That is infuriating.
When my old boss pulled out the 2020 calendar in late 2019, and asked everyone what days off they need so we can plan ahead and around, everyone was spitting off dates. I didn't have any plans yet, so I didn't request anything until she specifically asked me if I wanted any dates off. I shrugged and asked for 1 day around my birthday because why not? And she started mocking me in front of everyone. It's just a 23rd birthday. Why would you need that off? But obviously rolling her eyes. Then started treating me like an idiot the rest of the day. I'm honestly lost as to why you got mocked, tbh.
A child in my child's class at school told their teacher that their mum was taking them out of school for the day of their birthday and so they would be absent on that day. The teacher admonished the child and told them that if they weren't present the following day that there would be hell to pay. The child was rightly upset and decided to go into school. They hadn't taken down their homework properly and so did 3 different pages of work. It was the wrong work. The teacher locked the child in the classroom over lunch on their birthday. I have a similar story. In 5th grade, one had to get all my homework assignments signed by my parents in order to turn them in and get credit. On my birthday it snowed for the first time in 20 years in my town, but I forgot to get my homework signed the night before, probably because we went out for dinner or you know, birthday stuff. Anyways, the teacher's aide didn't let me leave the classroom for lunch or recess while all the other kids went out and played in the snow. It was awful, but the worst part was my mum was a teacher at the school in the next wing down. I asked if I could go and get her signature to play in the snow with my friends, and the teacher's aide said it wouldn't be appropriate. My mum was obviously upset about it, and I was devastated to not get to play in the rare snow. So after school she took me and my brother up into the snow to play around and have a snowball fight. She turned my nightmare day into what was probably the most fun birthday I can remember from my early childhood. I have a pretty wonderful mot, monsieur.
What really gets me about stories like this where a teacher is strict and cruel beyond all reason to a child is that I have theorized that teachers like this are the primary reason the profession as a whole gets treated like shit. It's impossible not to go through 13 years of school and not come across at least one asshole teacher. I just happen to be very lucky I was never the object of their ire in my school days. but my twin sister often would be. When people shit on teachers, insist they don't deserve more pay or support in general, I am convinced it's because the memories that sticks out the most to them of being in school and interacting with teachers are of shitty assholes like that fucking bitch. Edit. Changed from at least one teacher like this to asshole teacher because this story is particularly egregious. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.